Hello, this is Bill. Welcome you back to another edition of Billboard Comics. This time I have another comic book review, the second one on the site, so collect them all. Um, this one is a new book from one of the oldest comic book companies still operating today, Archie Comics. It doesn't seem like they put out a lot of new individual issues of comic books. They do seem to be putting out those digest size compilations on a regular basis. But this is a new video game themed special, one shot called Archie and Friends Level Up. Now, it's as a reviewer, it's kind of hard to review Archie because Archie is pretty much in its own zone, its own genre, its own kind of like little world. You can't like apply the same review physics that you do to say a superhero comic book or a more thoughtful horror comic book or something along those lines. It is the last surviving remainder of a genre that has long gone, like the jokey, family-friendly, gag-a-day teen comic book. Um, and you might say, like, well, that's a pretty specific wording for a genre, but there was a lot of them dating back to the '40s when Archie began to this date. So, if you want a too long didn't watch review of this, you could sum up: if you like Archie, you'll like this. If you don't, you don't. But for those of you who have more of an open mind or might not be familiar with Archie, let me go into the meat of my review here. The review, the one shot has one news story leads off the thing, but it also has one, two, three, five other backup stories taken from their voluminous Archie catalog from its past um, its past publishing history. The first one is called "Servers You Write." It's written by Ian Flynn, Stephen with Stephen Butler and Lily Butler. Stephen pencils, Lily on inks. Coloring by Glenn Whitmore, and inks by Jack Morelli. Lettering by Jack Morelli. I apologize for that. It's basically the gang gets together to play Crafty Miners, a new online game that they have to log into, and it's basically it's kind of like they go in there and they go through there, and it gives them an opportunity to portray their character traits in the fictional version of the Crafty Miners universe. Um, they're not exactly subtle with what they're inspiring here. It's a takeoff on Minecraft, and I believe Minecraft is even used in the blurb on the back. That There made no secret that it's supposed to be this. Why they changed it in the actual story? Normally, you think it would be just for copyright reasons, but they mention like it on the back of the cover. Um, but it's nonetheless the reason why it's released tomorrow actually. It will be to tie into the Minecraft movie, which is opening up this Friday. Um, so it's kind of like a way of them to actually, if little kids go to see the Minecraft movie, they come out and want to continue the excitement of the movie uh, in a different format and not just hop on and play Minecraft. They could pick up this um, comic book and get another genre, another form of media to fill their Minecraft fix. Smart, very smart doing it. Um, as I said, it's not a bad story. It's a relatively it's the thing is like with Archie, if you either like them or you love them or hate them, they're well crafted stories. They're solid stories from beginning to end. You're not going to get like a lot of like you know horribly bad stories. It just depends on how interested you are in the characters or in the concept. And this has to deal with like a lot of the concepts in it. It's like um, Veronica coming from wealth and being opulent, uh, Betty being crafty, Reggie being devious, and they all play in this like little Minecraft world. It's an entertaining diversion. It's not on the level of Dark Knight Returns or The Watchmen, but I don't think it intends to be. but it's a pleasant new divergence if you want to like just spend a couple minutes reading a comic book story. And also, but you also get like 5 other stories there, so it's kind of like a not a bad bargain for your buck. Um, the first one of the reprints is a Joust one game. It's Archie, another Archie and Friends. Basically, it's written by Hal Smith, with art by Duck, Doug Crane, Scott McRae is the inks, and lettering by Bill Yoshida. Um, the basic story behind this is like there's a new girl in town, and Reggie and Archie have to compete on a video game to earn the right to date her. Uh, Next up is Video Deja Vu, which is an Archie pretty much solo story as it's listed. Writing by George Gladier, pencils by Dan DiCarlo, inks by Mike Epicito, and again, lettering by Yoshida. This story is basically Benny and Veronica create a bunch of video games aimed at female audiences because they're sick and tired of like having all the video games aimed at male audiences. That's followed immediately by Betty Game Gambit, which is also written by George Gladier. Has pencils by Doug Crane and inks by Rudy Laptek and letters by Bill Richman. Basically, it's Betty doing an article on a local video game publisher and their attempts at making video games aimed um, at female audiences. It is interesting to see those two back to back because there's a shopping game in both, and in the first one, it's listed as a good one because um, you know Veronica and Betty had a hand in it. The second one, it's bad because when the male presented as he doesn't know anything about women did it. I just thought it's like kind of ironic the between the two and how things have changed since both of those were published. Interesting curious from a historical perspective, if you're into that kind of thing. Next one is Jughead with a Joystick Jackpot. That is written by George Gladier with pencils by Sam Schwartz. And looks like lettering by Barry Grossman. Basically, it involves Jughead becoming a video game tester, and it ends up finding something he loves to do. And the last one, wrapping up the whole thing, is Sabrina, I'm Game, written by Bill Gollner, art by Dan DiCarlo, and lettering by Bill Yoshida. And it deals with Sabrina getting jealous that her boyfriend Harvey is preoccupied with a brand new video game that came out, and she figures a way to try to have him pay some attention to her. I'm trying not to spoil any of these. Basically, giving you the vague thing is in there. It shouldn't spoil anything for you, but nonetheless, they're all entertaining and amusing like stuff. If I sound like I'm giving it damning a faint praise, like it, it seems like this is aimed at a lower level than me, but it still works for me reading it. So it's an all family kind of thing to do that, but it's just like it just doesn't. The stories don't actually hit me as well as the historical perspective does. I'm just reading it. I was thinking of like how Archie has a kind of how it did its backlog and had the timeless effort of the stories it created back then. I don't know exactly when these came for. I didn't do research on that at all to figure out what era of the publication it came from. It was probably like from like 1980s on. I know the Sabrina one I think was probably published when the Sabrina the Teenage Story as TV show. Sorry, I apologize. Was on ABC, and there's like the from 1996 for a couple years after that. So it's probably coming from that because the reference in there, they reference to make a veiled reference to Mortal Kombat and Sonic the Hedgehog, which were popular during that same time period. So you could probably put that in the late '90s. The other ones you can't really tell, and you can't tell. They fit right into there. They could be like written today or written yesterday, and that's one of the good things about reading a compilation like this. You get to see how, like, and you have some classic artists and writers. George Glitter did a lot of writing for Archie, um, and I believe Mike Esposito uh, was the inker on the Video Deja Vu uh, segment, and it's good to see these, like, they all have like basically there's a character model and they had to stick with. So Archie has to look like Archie no matter where you're going to, but there's like you can see subtle differences in the way they present stuff. It's fascinating from that aspect looking at it. Um, all in all, it's a pretty good story. Um, the whole stories are designed to be the illusion of change. There's nothing really major that happens that changes anything. You could read one after another or in any order, and it doesn't really like affect your enjoyment of reading. It just basically kind of like it if like I said earlier, like if you are against Archie, you're going to hate this book because it has Archie Elephant, has all the tropes and characteristics and trademarks of an Archie story in it. If you love Archie, this is more of the stuff. It's a good example of the Archie comic book. If you're a casual reader, it's a pleasant diversion. It is a nice, just a good way to read like a disposable kind of storyline. To get a couple moments of amusement, and then you don't have to really worry about it much afterwards. There's no really big stakes or anything like in any stories or anything like that, and that's by design, and that's the whole point of the thing. Not saying it's a bad thing, not saying it's a good thing. It's just that it's a thing. But yes, this will be released in stores tomorrow for New Comic Day. If you're watching this after I publish it, it'll be in the stores tomorrow, and it will be um, uh, done to tie into the Minecraft movie, and it would be and each is going to be costing you $4.99, which is a pretty good deal. 5 stories for $5. That's not anything to sneeze at. Um, Entering the diversion, if you have an extra $5 in your budget this week, you could do worse than picking this up. But it's probably pretty good too if you have a Minecraft fan in your family tree who might be really jazzed about the whole movie coming out this weekend. This might be something to help him kind of like placate himself until he actually could see uh, the movie a second or third time. Um, that's it. I like to put this out here to anybody else who has a comic book that they would like me to review. Please get in contact with me. You could leave either a comment or get through me through. I think earlier when I put like my actual contact information on there. I'm up for reviewing anything. If you want to send me copies of review, I'll be more than happy to do that. I'll try to fit it in. Yeah, and thank you very much for watching, and keep collecting.